Ignorance is bliss, right? I think ignorance truly is bliss. And the more we know, the less blissful we are as a people. Now, I say this because I think what Australia is doing uh, with taking away phones from kids is the best thing they can do for their um, for their youngsters. Besides the for not for the obvious reason of avoiding addiction, protecting the kids from the stalkers on the internet and all the lurking dangers of social media. No, that's the obvious part. I think it's good because as a kid, you need to enjoy a world where ignorance is bliss. I remember when I was a kid, I'm part of a generation that grew up just before the internet took off. We played outside, we went to the library for information, we we were exposed to small circles of people, not to the entire world as kids are these days. And we life was slower. It was slow because we didn't have the bombardment of information that kids these days have. We were blissful. We had happy childhoods. There was no need for these SSRIs, no need for uh, kids therapy, and we were allowed to be kids because we were shielded from the rigors of adulthood. The only um, problems that adults faced in society were the ones that you saw at home, but otherwise you were rightfully shielded from the world until you could until you were fully formed mentally, until you were able to be classified as mature enough to handle being exposed to what the how the world truly was. Now, I remember watching The Matrix and not fully understanding the movie and having to watch it again when it came out. And fast forward to today, where there's this concept of being red pilled um, or staying blue pilled. It's um, it's kind of like giving a child the phone. I feel like the phone is giving the child the red pill. You're giving your child access to how the world truly works when they don't have the mental capacity to and experience to properly understand what they are seeing. Their small, thus their small mind will not have the the mental fortitude that is needed to understand the images of death, the images of fighting, the images of sex, the images of just the constant flux of emotional turmoil that they will experience within 1 minute through relentless swiping. So I think ignorance is bliss. I remember a time when I was just continuously happy, not worried about rent, not worried about where my food was going to come from. I just saw food coming on the table. The roof was always over my head. That was bliss. So if you give your child the phone, you are taking them out of that ignorance phase. You're giving them too much information when they're supposed to be believing in Santa. They're supposed to be believing in the tooth fairy, all those childish ideas that they're supposed to be enjoying. You're taking it away by giving them a phone. So, yeah, ignorance is bliss. And I support what Australia is doing by protecting their children's minds, because what is happening currently with how kids are, with the depression, the child teenage depression, the suicide rates among kids, and all those things, that's all the result of exposure to a powerful device. Actually, it's not really the device, it's the internet. Exposure to the internet is what is ruining this kid's mind. And it needs to be regulated in all the big countries and taken out of schools. And there needs to be strict enforcement with the parents, because these kids, they're clever. They're and many times they're more tech savvy than the parents. So they'll know how to bypass all the restrictions that are put in place that say only under 18s, or only only over 18s, or only over 16s. They know how to get around that. They know how to make accounts, adult accounts, and all those things. So parents need to be diligent with their kids. But the thing is, the concept of ignorance being bliss even applies to adults. The more you know, the more sometimes you feel like, oh God, I really should not have known that. I really feel like I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing this information that I know now. For instance, this red pilling situation, there is a lot that is true in the red pill space. There's a lot that is true in about how life truly is. Because I remember I used to think that America was a good force in the world. I really truly believe that. I thought that America is a country of people with good values. They want what is good for the world. Having America as the big fish in the world was the best thing possible, because if there was no America, there was going to be a vacuum which was filled by a malevolent country. Like, I don't know, I thought maybe Russia or something like that. Some country with which would enslave populations and just be bad for the world. So now that I am slightly red pilled, I don't think that anymore. I think that money is the prime enforcer in ideology, and anything that has money involved, fundamentally, it's not about it being good or evil. It's just that the world is driven by money. If you have money, you ultimately get to decide how ideology, which ideology uh, is supposed to be enforced in the environment that you want it to be. So America is it was a tough one for me, because I grew up on American movies. I grew up on American music. So to find out that America caused a lot of wars, and those wars were driven by monetary incentive, and there was no value. The value of life was like a third or fourth consideration, it really black pilled me in a way, because I'm like, oh wow, so they really didn't care about those kids' life, that those people that were bombed. Oh, so they really didn't care about the country being liberated. They just wanted access to these resources. They just wanted geopolitical advantage, so that ultimately a military industrial complex is fed. So all those things that happened, that we were told were for the good of the world, were actually just for the good of the pockets of a few people. So that in itself, I feel like, I really enjoyed life not knowing something like that. I really could have gone the rest of my life not knowing that America was not really the good guy. But well, it's it goes back to that Matrix scene where Cypher, I think his name was Cypher, was negotiating with the agents to be put back into the Matrix because he couldn't bear the truth of the world, and he just wanted to forget and be ignorant again. He felt like ignorance was bliss as he was biting into the steak and negotiating a return to the blue pill. Well, there's no such thing in this real world, but we have to adjust. We have to deal with the cards that we've been handed.